It all began when two little green-cheeked conures fell in love. They decided it was time for them to have children of their own, so they went to a genetic counselor to find out the probability of having each of the possible gametes from their cross. Here we see that the red belly is dominant over the white belly, the green head is dominant over the yellow head, the turquoise wings are dominant over the blue wings. We also see that the parents are a cross between white, green, blue, and red, yellow, turquoise. The coefficient of confidence, or C, is 0.5391. Here we see the genetic map for the cross between the two green-cheeked conures. We see that R1 is 19.52 centimorgans and R2 is 16.55 centimorgans. The mother's genotype is shown on top and the father's is shown on the bottom. Now I'm going to show you how to find the probability of the crossover events. To find the double crossover number, you do R1 times R2 times C. In this case, that gives us 0.01742. To find the single crossover 1 number, you do R1 minus the double crossover number from above. In this case, that gives us 0.17778. To find the single crossover number 2, you do R2 minus the double crossover number from above again. In this case, that gives us 0.14808. And finally, to find the no crossover, you do 1 minus the double crossover number from above, minus the single crossover 1 number from above, minus the single crossover 2 number from above. In this case, that gives us 0.65672. And we will use all of these numbers later on to find the possibility of each individual gamete. Now I'm going to go over an example for how to do the math for a double crossover and a single crossover 1 for the probability of an individual gamete. This is what the map would look like for our first example for the double crossover, which is a gamete that is red, green, turquoise. To find the probability of the double crossover gamete, you're going to take the calculated DCO number from before, 0.01742, and multiply it by 0.5 since there will be two gametes, but we're only worried about one. In this case, that gives us 0.00871. This is what the map will look like for the single crossover 1 gamete, which is red, green, blue. For the single crossover 1 math, we are going to take the calculated SCO1 number from earlier, 0.17778, and multiply it by 0.5, again for the same reason from earlier. This gives us, in this case, 0.08889. These are the results if you do the math for all of the rest of the gametes. Thank you!